So no matter what career you choose, you should always be willing to learn new things, learn from different types of people. They could be your peers in terms of, on your age, in your age group. There could be people that are younger than you, but have different walks of life, different cultures.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the fire service. We are weird, wonderful, and different. There's so many different types of people and characters on a watch that you can learn from. You can't push yourself outside of your comfort zone if you don't step outside of it. That makes sense. You need to take that step, take that risk to grow.
Options to outcomes with that Miss Wholeness. I'm that Miss Wholeness, and this is the podcast that helps young people connect school choices and real careers. In each episode, we speak to professionals about their journey, what they learned, the decisions they made, and what helped them move forward. Today, we're joined by a sub-officer in the emergency fire services, a role built on leadership, teamwork, and stepping up when it matters most. Let's start by understanding what the role really involves.
My name is Kylei Holmes Lewis, and I am a sub-officer with the London Fire Brigade.
What is a sub-officer?
A sub-officer is like a line manager, someone that leads a crew of people, can be in charge of a crew of firefighters. So my role mainly focuses on incident command and training and development for my crew, for my watch.
In one sentence, how would you describe what you do?
First and foremost, firefighter, save lives, put fires out, help people on their hardest days, their worst moments, work well in a team. Yeah, respond to emergencies that most people wouldn't even dream of.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. What do you enjoy most about your role?
You know what? Every time someone asks me that question, I start smiling because I absolutely love my job, and I'm so grateful to have even got into this career. I've been doing it for 16 years now, and thank you. It's
Go on.
and it's flown by. To be honest, I just love that. It sounds cliche, but every day is different.
Mm.
If you have a good team, a good watch, you've got good firefighters around you, it can make the day go so quickly. You have so much fun just collaborating with people, sharing life stories, creating those bonds, those long-lasting bonds as well. I've got people that I class as family now.
I can imagine.
But it's a rewarding, purposeful job.
Mm.
It's not for the glitz and glam. It's not you get dirty, you get rough, you're tired. But you're doing something good. You're doing something to help people. You're literally saving lives. And, it's not just the saving lives, it's the prevention as well. It's all that, the fire safety stuff that you do. You encounter lots of different people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And it does really enrich my life.
Yeah.
So
What is one myth of the emergency fire services?
a myth.
A myth.
Maybe that we're always busy all the time doing crazy things. Sometimes it can be quite mundane and boring, like, training, development. We do lots of practical training. We do lectures.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the classroom sometimes. We have courses. So it's not always go, go, go. So that could be a myth that people would kind of...
I thought you was going to say, like, you're always saving cats. Up
Do you know what? I've saved quite a few cats in my time. I'm not going to lie.
And what is one skill that you think our younger listeners should take from your role and should build on?
Oh, it's kind of hard. One skill, kind of like boiling it down to one skill. I would say determination.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you have determination, you can do lots of things, regardless of what it is. If you have a goal, you have a focus, then you're able to put your mind to it and get things done. So determination is a very big skill that I would say is important to have.
And what would be one message to your younger self?
Oh,
It's always a hard one.
get emotional.
Yeah.
One
You
message to
can
my...
cry.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to cry. One message to my younger self: believe in yourself, even if you are unsure. But yeah, believe in yourself.
In my role, we have something that's called supervision.
Mm.
Do firefighters have that in terms of like their welfare and stuff? In terms of like if they've seen something quite traumatic, or I know that what our
Mm.
listeners don't know, like you was one of the firefighters that put out Grenfell. So after that, that aftermath and that those traumatic
Mm.
experiences, is there something in the services that staff get?
Yeah, we do have things in place. We do have advisory counselling services,
Mm,
the counselling and trauma team. They're on hand 24/7. So we have emergency counsellors that are there for people in their time of need. We have loads of things in place. We've got so many um, support groups as
yeah,
well that firefighters of themselves have set up as well that are outside of the brigade too.
that's really good.
But also, I said before, when you have a good team around you, you get that support straight away,
Mm,
even at an incident or straight after an incident, we encourage our watch to open up and, speak about things that may have troubled us. And it may not come up straight away. It could come up a weeks later, months later, a
yeah,
year later, in my case, after Grenfell, you know. So we do have things in place, and the brigade are very good at that, providing that support. So I'm
that's
very
good to know.
grateful. I've used it, and
Yeah.
counselling is very good.
It, I have
It's
to
e-
use it daily
it's
for
excellent.
my role
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. So let's rewind back to school. So what our listeners don't know is that we actually went to school with each other.
Big
So
up.
yeah, ooh, I
Alwyn
don't
Girls'
even know.
School.
Yeah, so yeah, Alwyn Girls School, now known as Harris Academy,
Wow.
Bermondsey. So shout out to our listeners if you're from that school. And we're going to rewind back to school, and we're going to take this from, which is going to make our podcast a
Mm,
bit
mm,
different from other podcasts, no
mm,
shade intended, but
mm.
we're going to start from year 9 when you had to pick your options. And can you remember what you've picked? I like to think you do. No.
Yeah.
And why did you pick those options?
Year 9.
Year
Wow.
9. Yeah.
Jeez, that's a long time ago.
Exactly.
What did I chose extra options actually because I was, that person. I
hmm
did
She would have been teachers. She would have been gifted and talented.
oh
She
yeah.
was very, very like just aced. That was the type of student she had. She made everything look easy.
Oh, thanks, Carly.
You did.
It was kind of hard at times. No, so what did I choose? I think I did like, we had GMVQs back in the day.
Yeah,
GMVQs.
GMVQs.
Did
Yeah.
ICT GMVQ, did obviously all the core subjects, obviously maths, English, science. I love biology.
hmm
I chose music as an extra GCSE. I did dance as an extra GCSE as well, I believe. What else did I do? We had RE and all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
as well. But I think I left with like 13 and a half GCSEs, including the GMVQs.
Yeah.
But my options were I like dance. Yeah,
Mm.
dance was one of my main subjects I really enjoyed, and music. So that's always been something that I've really enjoyed.
So would
Um,
you say that when you was in year 9, you
mm,
envisioned your career being in music and dance?
yeah, definitely. I chose Spanish as well as
Yes,
one
I
of them.
remember.
Yeah, Spanish is good. Oh, I got an A star in Spanish.
Hold tight, you got done better than me,
Hola.
girl.
That's all I can remember. And then I liked biology as well, so I chose that because I wanted to do that in college. But I ended up doing media, Spanish, English at college. Yeah, but my options were in the dance, music, entertainment kind of field. I liked being active. I liked being a bit, you know, not showy. I wasn't a show off,
Yeah.
but I did attend the London Contemporary Dance School.
Mhm.
Um, So that was good. So that was my path that I wanted to go down.
So in college sixth form, so
Yes.
you had your options, more options than most students, I would say,
Mm.
in terms of like qualifications. And then now you're in college and sixth form, and your choices were media,
Yeah, I did media,
English,
English,
and
and dance,
and
and I did
dance.
Spanish. Then I didn't. I think you can do. Is it you do 1 year and then you can drop?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I did.
And
Yeah,
Spanish as well. So at that point in time, when you've got like
ages
4
ago.
different areas now,
Mm,
which one was your focal point in terms of thinking that this is what I want to do at post 18?
media.
Media. And
Yeah,
why?
100%. I just thought that media at that time obviously was developing. Now we've got all like AI and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
media for me was an exciting world of possibilities. So like print journalism,
Mm,
video editing as well.
yeah.
I like that, and just being in that kind of that career, that field. It just seemed like it was so appealing to me. There was so many options. And I thought, you know what? Let me just see what I really like about media studies, and see where my niche would be.
Mm.
So
And did you go to university at 18 and graduate at 21?
yeah.
So when you was 21, you've graduated.
Mm.
What university did you go?
Kingston Uni.
Kingston Uni.
Big up
Shout out to Kingston University.
Uni.
So
No gun
we've got to
fingers.
shout you out. Alumni student here, keynote speaker.
Henry Road.
With so 21, you've graduated. You don't have to say your grade, but you know.
I got 2-1. I'm proud. I worked hard for that.
Well done.
Thank you.
So you've graduated. What's next?
So I did media and cultural studies at Kingston Uni, and I wanted to go into, I don't know, radio or TV. But at that time, leaving uni, there weren't any jobs that were lending itself to those niche roles.
Yeah.
So I kind of ended up in sales and marketing.
Okay.
So obviously like money as well in terms of salary, it was quite appealing. So I thought, let me just kind of get my foot in with my finances, do sales and marketing, and hopefully sort of like sidestep into the more creative media. But that didn't happen, as we can see
Yeah,
today.
that's why we're here. So what was the turning point in terms of going into the fire services? Or how did you decide that this is what I'm going to do?
So I obviously finished uni, graduated, went into sales and marketing, tried a few corporate jobs. Thought I could do them, but didn't really enjoy them. Then I went to work in Newham College of Further Education. So I was doing sales and marketing in that institution as well. And I never even thought about, being a firefighter. It didn't even cross my mind. But my friend's mum, she worked within the fire brigade, within community fire safety. So I was always speaking to her, and I was hearing stories from her about, firefighters and whatever. And I thought, oh, that sounds cool, but still didn't think anything of it. And then I actually was working with the college at a careers fair at the Excel Centre.
Okay.
And then I ran into the fire brigade stand. They had the army, fire brigade, other, stands and stuff. And I was walking past on my lunch break, and they was like, oh, have you thought about, the fire brigade as a career? And I was like, oh, no, actually. It's oh, good. Come closer. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. Eating a sandwich.
Careers fairs.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool.
Do you want to do an army? Yes.
Yeah, so do you want to do an open day? Come to an open day and just have a look and find out what, the career's about. I was like, all right, cool. So they
Where was
signed.
the open day? Where was the open
At
day?
Suffolk Fire Station.
Right.
Yeah, now gone. Oh, sad.
Yeah.
Crying. That's where I did my training. So yeah, went to an open day, and that just changed my whole perspective. It just opened up my eyes to the world of the London Fire Brigade and firefighting. So I met firefighters there who'd been in the job for 10 plus years, 12 plus years, 6 plus years. And everyone I spoke to had been in the job for ages.
Yeah.
And I'd never ever had that longevity in a role.
That's the word I was just about to say.
So I thought, wow, these people are doing this job and they love it, and they've been doing it for a long time. Like I want to have something that I, would be happy to wake up for every day. So went to the open day, spoke to these people, firefighters, had a few goes at the fitness tests and, the confined space stuff, all that kind of thing. And I was like, yeah. When I left, I was like, this is me.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what I want
That's how
to do
you do.
every day. So then I just started researching.
Yeah.
So I applied again for the normal application, and it took me 11 months from start to finish to get in. There were 6 stages to get through.
11 months?
Yeah, so every time you'd pass it, in my case I passed, amen, you'd wait 4 weeks for a letter to say, yeah, you've passed, you can progress on to the next stage. So it was 6 stages.
What does this test entail? Because I know that will put a lot of people off.
Yeah, but I was determination.
Yeah,
See, that skill, I told you.
Absolutely, but what does the test entail?
So if I can remember correctly, it was application, then it was the written test, then it was group discussion or exercise, then it was there's something else, a fitness test, and then it was references, then a medical. So I think that's 5 or 6. Yeah, there's 6.
And is that test exactly the same today, or has it changed? Have they added in more stuff?
I believe they may have tweaked a few things, but I think it's along the same lines of doing the medical fitness test, all those things, medical references, all that stuff. But yeah, every 4 weeks, it was like opening a letter. There weren't sort of emails them days. A long time
I'm thinking
ago.
of the fitness test, and all I can think is me just holding on to my little blue And just pumping that
Listen,
asthma pump.
I was in an office job for like, let's say 3 years. So I went from uni to, Sainsbury's head office doing like logistics and stuff. Then I went to the, college. So I was basically sitting down behind a desk for 3 years. So I hadn't done any fitness really, even though I'd done dance like from I was 13 years old up until sort of uni time. So I
Yeah.
had a kind of good kind of fitness level, I thought. Went to the open day, did the fitness test, and I think I was out by 9 seconds. And I was like, "Nah." I was so upset. I was vexed. So I was like, "Nah." So I started training. So I started training whilst I was working at the college, and then I actually either quit or got made redundant. So I think I quit before I got made redundant from the college.
How old are you at this point?
24.
Wow.
But I made the choice to either leave my job and just went training. Got a personal trainer, and I trained 3 or 4 times a week. And I made sure that when it came to that, that stage 4 of the fitness test and the real application, that I was gonna pass that fitness
Mm.
test. And I did. I smashed it.
Congrats.
And I was like, "Yeah,
So
determination, yeah."
at 24, what
Mm.
would you say? Would you say that was the hardest part at that time?
I mean, some people are finding themselves, you are finding yourselves. I think, for me, going to uni, moving out, living on halls of residence, it kind of gives it's character building, and coming from a big family, got 3 older brothers, 3 younger sisters,
Mm.
where I come from, grew up on an estate, you know, you kind of, you have resilience. You
Yeah.
have kind of like those social skills as well.
Mm.
And, you have to hold your own in certain environments. So I think that, yeah, at 24, I passed all my tests for the fire brigade, and I was like, "Yeah, this is me. This is my career. This is what I'm gonna put my all into it." Obviously, moved out, got my own place on my own.
Yeah.
I was a single person at the time, and I was just focused on my career. I was like, "This is me."
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my kind of turning moment of like, this is where my life is gonna go.
So was you on a graduate program, or at this point
No.
now you're a actual fire qualified firefighter?
No, so I didn't get into the graduate scheme. So
Mhm.
obviously I got knocked back for that one. Passed the normal application process. Then, once I got in, I got that letter. I remember screaming, with my friend Charlie. I
Yeah.
was on the phone to her and I was like, "Oh my God, I got in." She's like, "Oh my gosh, I knew you'd do it. I knew you'd do it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh," dancing around. And then, at that point, I was a trainee firefighter, and
Mm.
I got, not posted, but we got sent to Southwark Fire Station to do our training, which
Yeah.
was 17 weeks at the time. 17 weeks of training at Southwark Fire Station, going through all that, breathing apparatus,
Yeah.
the fitness, IEC, we call it immediate emergency care, which is like first aid to other people,
Mm.
but I think it's like a level above, which is why we call it IEC. And then doing all the confined spaces, those drills, then real fire training up at Moulton Fire Service College for 2 weeks, going into like real life, fire situations. So that was 17 weeks of like intense training and fitness, fire science, all of that stuff
Yeah.
at Southwark. So, and then the residential was Moulton, the Fire Service College. After those 17 weeks, then you're posted to your fire station, your base station.
Mm.
So initially, I got posted to East Ham, and I was like, "Oh, East London." I'm a South London girl. I was like, "Oh, I just come from East London, Newham College. Like, I don't want to go back there." I was like, "Oh man, I
Gotta
just sold my
represent the
car.
ends.
I sold my car as well." I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah," and I was like, "No, I can't go back there." Anyway, I thought, you know what? I'm grateful to have a career. Let me just hold on and just get it done. We had a pass out parade, like we get to show our friends and family what we've been working on for the last 17 weeks. We have like a sort of like a showcase of like our skills and stuff, like
Yeah.
ladders, pumping, all the stuff running around, whatever. On my pass out day, at the end of it, at the time, she was actually ended up becoming our commissioner, Danny Cotton. She came up to me at the end, and I thought I was sacked already. I was like, she was walking up to me with all of her, like,
Good.
her epaulets and stuff. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, have I been sacked already? I've just finished training school. But she came up to me and said, "Oh, we've been able to change your posting
Oh wow.
to Brixton Fire Station, Brixton Reds." I was like, "Big up Brixton Reds, you know who you are."
Shout out to
And I
Brixton.
spent shout out Brixton, and I spent 10 years of my career on Brixton Reds, yeah, Brixton Fire Station, and that's when I started all my on the job training at fire stations. So I passed it in 18 months. So I did my driving, did all my, development folders and, evidence, and go into different incidents and logging that.
Yeah.
So, and then presenting that to my station commander or station manager at the time, and just showcasing what I've learned and demonstrating that. And yeah, did my driving and finished that in 18 months.
Listen, we have been out on the roads in Brixton and we've seen Kylie pull up in a fire truck and we're just like, what? That's that
Yes.
girl.
I was like, yo.
Yeah, exactly. Listen,
Love driving. I'm used to
people are
that.
talking about German whips, but
I had a
listen,
German whip, a big
listen,
red German whip.
when your girl's pushing up in the fire truck, that's when you know.
Acted up as well, and as a crew manager at the time, that was the term, crew manager. So
Mhm.
acted up for about 17 months.
And what does a crew manager, what does that entail?
Again, in charge of a crew. So it's in the name, crew manager. So you're in charge of, let's say, 3 or 4 firefighters, so the driver and the firefighters in the back. So you go into incidents, you're an incident commander for smaller incidents, in charge of a fire engine, a fire
Yeah.
truck or a fire appliance, we call it. So it's just about leading that crew. Now it's called leading firefighter. So the clue's in the name. You are the lead firefighter for going into jobs. We call jobs like fires. So you're the one that's kind of the more experienced, usually, and you're the one that's the lead breathing apparatus wearer, and then also the training development.
That's hard, because I can't imagine turning up to a scene
Mm.
and I don't know what you do to prepare for this. Like turning up to a scene and you're seeing this burning building and you're just getting out the truck. You're like, to us. Like,
To us.
like, raw. Like, do you ever think like it's deep? Because you're like, am I coming out alive?
That's where the training kicks in. Obviously, we have our initial training school, then we have our training at station. It's very important. We do drills a lot. At Brixton was drilling every day. Every day shift we were doing drills and we're doing lectures. So that kind of gives you that
What does a
foundation.
drill look like? Because you say drills and I'm thinking with my football hat on, like the little drills where we're kicking the ball. But like, what does a fire drill look like?
Oh, very similar, I suppose. It's just kind of enhancing your skills. It's going over the same skill set that it comes naturally to you, so it's second nature. So we have like ladder drills, so putting up ladders, working at height, our safe systems of work, getting water to work, pumps and pumping. So we call the appliances pumps, if they're pumping water. So it's
Yeah.
about those kind of drills where you're running around, setting into a hydrant, so opening up a hydrant, making sure you're plugging the hose in to the fire truck, and then making sure we call it a branch. So
This is a lot.
the stuff that you use to put the fires out, we call it a branch. So it's like that kind of, how do I explain it to people not in the fire brigade, where you hold the end of the hose basically, and you open it up, and obviously you can spray. So we
It's a lot of operators involved, isn't it?
yeah, all those things, and then like sort of like RTC, so road traffic collisions. We have all those cutting equipment that we use. So we do loads of training just to make sure that when we do turn up to an incident, that we are ready. In the backs of our minds, we're like, right, we know how to use this equipment. That's not going to hinder us, and then it's being adaptable to that environment, that fire. And that's where the fire science comes in as well, like the fire behaviors and all that kind of stuff. So it's ongoing training that we're constantly doing at station, and we get sent to residentials as well to enhance our skills, to top up our skills. So that's where the training comes into play.
So these are like little habits that help you cope
Yeah.
under pressure.
Yeah.
Is what we're saying.
And then, and obviously as a leading firefighter or sub-officer now, it's like you're in charge of training and development for your watch. Alongside me in my position, I've got a station officer above me who oversees the whole watch. But, and we have leading firefighters as well. So it's in collaboration with those those line managers that we, make sure that our watch as a whole are ready to respond. So we call it operational readiness. Yeah, so turning up to a building and it's on fire, sometimes it can be like, okay, right, you're taking it in, it's it's like the scene assessment, how do I respond to this? Roles and responsibilities, we are detailed at the start of every shift, what your role is, what your responsibility is, so who's in BA, breathing apparatus, who's driving, who's in charge of health and safety, who's going to be, so we have.
So do you have a rota?
Designated.
Do you have a rota for that?
Yeah, and
I
that
can
can
imagine
rotate.
it's like when you're going out with your friends. I want to be the driver. I'm not the driver for my friends' groups.
That's usually me.
I have the car, but I don't want to be the driver.
I'm the sensible one. You get some people that try to stay in the same roles,
in the same roles. Yeah,
it's good as a line manager to kind of get people out of their comfort zones, and that's what what it is. It's about enhancing people's skills and, you know, how we work together. And also it's about looking at people's weaknesses, strengths, and how that kind of fits in as a watch as a whole.
That's it.
You have to kind of be, as a line manager or a sub officer or leading firefighter station officer, you know, and above, you have to kind of look at your watch and look at who's going to work well with this person in this scenario, and you use it to your advantage, because the whole idea is to make sure that you resolve an incident safely, efficiently,
Mm.
you know, effectively, and everyone comes out alive. That's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what you need to be able to do. Kind of like, "Oh, right, this person's a bit doesn't really like doing that. Let's see if we can push that person to come out their comfort zone a bit or whatever." So it's about, you know, honing those skills.
A question that's come to my head whilst you're talking as well.
Yeah.
You're in a quite the fire service is quite a male dominated role.
Mm.
Would you agree or
Yeah.
would you
Yeah.
disagree with that?
Yeah.
What are they doing
Mm.
to encourage females to get into the firefighting
I'm here.
services? You're
Hey.
here. You're here. What are you doing, gal?
And that
Tell
was
us.
it. That was it. That was the open day that I got invited to. You know, it's that outreach. We got outreach teams, that
Mm.
people that go out into the community to just to say, like, this is what we are, this is what we do. Are you interested? Here's a pathway into the fire service. You know, this is what we can do to help support you. I've done a lot of that in my career as well.
Yeah.
So
Do you
physically,
know the figures in terms of how many
not
women are in the fire
not off the top of
services?
my head, but it's
Yeah.
not a lot, but it's getting better. Definitely getting better, which is good. But I must stress that it's not about just getting those protected groups, you know, those minority groups, whether it's women or, you know, black people or, you know, people that wouldn't necessarily look at the fire service as a career choice. It's about finding the right people for the job. So it's not about, right, I've got this amount of women in the job, right, let's just make sure we get them in. It's
Mm.
about picking the right people for the job. And that's where determination comes in. You know, that's where, you know, resilience comes in as well.
Our podcast is aimed for focusing on our younger listeners
Mm.
from 14, year
Yes.
9 to 25, and
Mm.
24 is when you started up. Are the firefighters getting younger? Do people join in their 30s, their 40s?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's becoming more normal now in terms of people joining in later stages of life.
Mm.
So some people have come from corporate jobs and they've joined when they're 40, 45. They've fancied a change, you know, they're active, they're fit individuals and they wanted a change, you know. So that is usually, back in the day, people would join at 17, 18, and that would be their career for
Wow.
life.
And is that the age that you can join now?
17 and a half.
17 and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah, with a driver's license. So all the information's on our fire brigade website. But back in the day, people would join because their fathers were in the
In the fire
service,
service.
and it was kind of like a normal kind of rite of passage, like people joining at that age, and that was all they knew. So, but people now are coming in from different walks of life that have different skills to, you know, to add to teams and watches, and you know, and managerial kind of like, you know, stuff as well. So it's becoming much more rounded in terms of who are coming into the fire service. So yeah, it's good. It's good and bad.
Yeah. So we've gone from firefighter,
Yeah,
leader,
leading
team,
fire. Yeah, so
leading.
firefighter, leading firefighter, and now sub officer.
So where was the jump from going into sub officer, or how did you know that this is the career for me? So you said that from when you were doing the training and
Yeah,
the boot camp.
yeah.
When you was in firefighting from your first role as a firefighter, did you see the longevity? Like, did you see like the amount of different positions that are in the role?
Yeah, I was aware of it. Definitely, we have like a role structure, a rank structure. And I was aware of it, but my focus was really sort of learning my craft. That's why I spent 10 years. So I knew that I would have 10 years under my belt at Brixton Fire Station, at a very busy station in
Mm.
South London, responding to all types of emergencies. For me personally, that was my goal,
Mm.
to ensure that I could say, you know what, I've been a firefighter for a decade, for 10 years, and I'm driving as well, so I'm doing everything. And that was what I wanted to have as a foundation. So I was aware of the role structure and obviously that the rank structure, and I knew that at some point, I wanted to go up, you know, up the ranks. But it wasn't a rush thing. But there were people, really, really influential individuals that I met during my career that have also encouraged me as well. To say, Kylie, I think, because that's again, so my line managers were like, oh, they can see certain qualities within me. They're like,
Yeah.
well, Kylie, I think you should go for this. And I'm like, no, 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 I'm cool, Gov. It's
Mm.
fine. Right. No, I think you should really think about going for
Going for
this
this.
course or whatever. I think you got some good skills. I'm like, all right, cool. That's why I said, like, the message to my younger self, believe in yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
there are some times that I was like, no, I'm not as confident as I should be,
Yeah.
because I need to have this, and this done. But you can't push yourself outside of your comfort zone if you don't step outside of it. That makes sense. If you need to take that step, take that risk to grow.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have grown if I didn't just, I thought, you know what, let me just, all right, Gov, cool, I'll go and do that course. I'll go and do that, that fire service college course at Incident Command. And that's when I was like, right, okay, I can do this. It'll take some work and take some, some training, but actually, yeah. And then once you're in that role, it's like this, you're learning all the time.
Mm.
It's never one day that you don't learn something new. And I think that's how you should look at it. You should always be looking and willing to learn.
That's
Yeah.
good. That was going to be my next question in terms of what advice would you give our listeners who want a meaningful career? And I think that's the same in education, especially within my subject, that I'm constantly having to learn.
Yeah, so no matter what career you choose, you should always be willing to learn new things, learn from different types of people. They could be your peers in terms of on your age, in your age group. There could be people that are younger than you, but they're from different walks of life, different cultures. They've had different upbringings, educational backgrounds. So you shouldn't be kind of tunnel vision where you're like, oh no, I'm only going to talk to people who I can kind of relate to.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the fire service. We are weird, wonderful, and different. There's so many different types of people and characters on a watch that you can learn from. There are people who are older than myself who I am technically in charge of or leading, but it's all about the experience that I've had in the fire service that allows me to be like, right, okay, this is what I can impart. This is the knowledge and experience that I can impart. So I think that the message would be to don't be afraid to learn from people, all types of people. Don't be afraid to go out there and do your own research. You have to be authentic, 100% authentic. Be yourself. It's hard
Yeah.
to be fake. It just be yourself and be honest. Be honest with yourself and others.
Mm.
If you're not liking something and it's something you can change, then you do that. Don't wait for someone to change things for you. The change really does start with yourself. And if you are determined and you want to make a good career for yourself and you want to enjoy your life and that you need to put the work in. You really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've recently just signed, I saw the video, the contract. We might have to put the VT in here.
Maybe.
So you recently signed the contract and congratulations on
Thank you.
becoming a sub officer.
Thank you.
What are you enjoying so far?
Just that milestone for me, just knowing that I've achieved that. I've got 3 children. I've got Ezra, who's 12. I've got Leona and Naya, who are twin girls, who are 3. They're 4 next month. So I've forged a career in the fire service alongside being a mother. So that was a
big.
great.
That's so big.
Yeah, so I've got
That
3
is
children. They're
big.
beautiful. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
They give me a lot of joy, and they give me a lot of fuel.
Yeah.
To achieve, to lead by example in my career, but also in my household.
Yeah.
I got to show my children that they can do what they put their minds to. I'll
Absolutely.
get emotional now because it's really important to me that my children can see they can do things.
Mm.
Yeah, they can achieve what they want. And hard work is a big factor. And they see me working.
Yeah. We all see you. We
Yeah,
all
man.
see you. We all see
But
you. Yeah.
not getting too emotional. That achievement for me, signing that contract and passing my promotion, was a big moment. And I
You
hope
should
I
be
can show
proud.
them more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm showing myself that I can do more. But, yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank
I'm so
you.
proud
Yeah,
of you. Like, I
I'm taking
would
a drink
hug
to the
you
water.
right now,
Don't
but
hug
it's
me,
just
man.
like all the microphones are in the way. So
Don't touch me.
yeah, that's it.
That's
We
it,
haven't got.
because
So for next time, I need to make sure that I've got tissues for my guests as
yeah,
well, because
yeah.
obviously it is getting emotional up in the building. But this brings me to it's one of my last questions. What helped you move from options to outcomes?
Oh, so many factors, support of friends,
Mhm.
family, um, managers, colleagues, friends, parents. There's so many factors that help me move from options to outcomes. You know, we
Mm.
went to school together.
Yeah.
You know, even influential teachers, you know, that can see things in you before you see things in yourself.
You've said that twice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is
There's
a
a
thing.
good couple of teachers that I remember,
Yeah.
you know, Miss Perez.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
got
just
Miss Perez.
but you got those people, you got them earth angels that are walking and like that.
Yeah,
They just kind
that's a
of
lovely way of putting it, actually. Earth angels.
yeah, they just it's like they can see into your future before you can. They're like, ah, I can see those qualities in that person. They kind
Yeah,
of guide you and they kind
I
of
get that, actually, because I do this every day. You're right.
this it. You're look at you.
I might have to start calling myself an earth angel, because we
It's just
do. We do.
it's just
Yeah.
people that do good. They've got pure intentions and they want the best for others. They want the best for themselves. And it's like it can be very you got to be selfless and it's just for the greater good. And I always say it like you just need to want good for others and want good for yourself and just and put the work in. So people from, you know, secondary school, teachers, the friends that you move around, the
Yeah.
friends that you encounter,
Yeah.
options, who you choose to be friends with, how you choose to. I never bunked school in my life. I was scared of my mum. Yeah, I wasn't scared of anybody else. Teachers did. I was like, friends,
Oh,
Kylie, you're gonna come out for
yeah.
lunchtime and just not come back. No,
No,
no, no.
no.
I'm going to IT. I'm going to my Spanish class. You hold tight, you guys. Like, no, see you later.
Mm.
But it's being that strong-minded individual, and I always was that at school. You
Yeah, you
know,
were.
I
You
could be
were.
friends with anyone. I knew all the friends, the bullies,
Yeah.
the people, the
girl
neaky
had
one, the nerds.
haters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like
You still do.
I was able to kind of relate to everyone, but still be true to myself. No one could tell me about me, who I was as a person. But I was always willing to learn from
Yeah.
other
Others.
groups, other
Yeah.
people, and like, have shared experiences and stuff like that. Those people that kind of guide you. Yeah. So like friends, family, parents, teachers, line managers, people you meet at uni, people you meet at college, and you kind of like take those words of wisdom, and it shapes you. It shapes your character. It kind of like, you take little bits, little nuggets of wisdom and that gems, and you kind of like shape that into your own life. Think, right, how am I going to move from options to outcomes
Yeah.
using those bits of information and experiences, and you shape your own life. You are the master of your own life.
That's it.
You know?
So would you say it was, in terms of your career, would you say it was down to a person, a mindset, or a moment?
All of the above.
Mm.
All of the above. As I said, my insight was my friend's mum who worked within the fire brigade. So that was like, oh, okay, a little bit of a, insight. Then, a moment when I was like, right, I want to be an active person in my community. I want to give back. I want to make sure that I've got, good role model or be a good role model. So moments, just thinking, this is what I want to do. Like epiphany, like moments like, wow, this is great. I can really show up for myself, my community. I can do a great job. I can do something that's rewarding, purposeful. So there's so many things that have kind of like, shaped my
Yeah.
options from, a young Kylei to now, like, a fully grown mother, sub officer, firefighter, it's crazy. But I always had like the resilience, the determination, the focus that I wanted to make sure that I was happy in my life, doing what made me happy. And if that made me happy, I knew that I'd be a better person for everyone around me, whether that's my children, my friends,
Yeah.
my family. And that's all it really means to me, just to be a good person and do good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of family, your mum.
Yeah.
Let's go to your mum.
Yeah.
When you said to her, I'm going to be a firefighter, what was her reaction?
Do you know what? I can't really remember, but I think it was a bit like, oh, really? Okay, a bit like, okay, a bit of a
'Cause
shock. Yeah,
I
like,
can
okay,
imagine,
random.
me going home telling my mum and dad that, yeah, I'm gonna be. In fact, this happened when we was in school, when the army came in, and I remember my sister's in the back. I remember coming home and I was telling my dad, yeah, I'm going to join the army, and my dad was just like,
Really?
girl. Girl, these lot have brainwashed you because,
Okay.
yeah, my dad was
We need
just
to bring her
like,
in.
No, no, you ain't.
Yeah, that's what you think.
Yeah, exactly.
But
So
no.
was it that? Because or was it just like,
Yeah, no, I did get a lot of that. It was like, oh
yeah,
wow, really? Okay, because I'm the first firefighter in my family. Yeah, so
yeah,
no one's done it. So yeah, trailblazing.
that's
But
it.
yeah, but it's like, yeah, okay, it's a bit random. It's different. It's new. Are you sure?
Yeah,
Bit
exactly.
dangerous.
What
You
about
okay?
media?
Yeah. What about the normal, like, just the
Yeah,
safe jobs? So there, I did in encounter that, and that's what surprises people a lot when
yeah.
I say what I do. It's like, oh wow, like, aren't you scared?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the
Well,
first
it's true.
what?
It's true.
It's
It's
usually
true.
aren't you
I big you
scared?
up all the time.
Yeah, when I go out with my friends and stuff, they're like, people are like, oh, yeah, she's a firefighter. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh. because like people think, rah, like,
fire alarm will go off. We're like, Kylie.
I'm off duty. I'm at home with the kids. They're like, oh my gosh, it's a random career choice, whatever. Then I get the, aren't you scared? Oh, I've never seen a woman firefighter before. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, like,
because there's,
these are the questions that I get,
yeah.
or the comments, like, wow, oh my gosh, like, so how long have you been doing it? And then when I say I've been doing it for 16 years, they're like, whoa,
How old are you?
are you asking me? I'm 39. Yeah. But they're like, oh my gosh, so like, isn't it hard? Don't you find it hard? Like working with lots of men and all this stuff. And I'm like,
Mm,
oh, you know what? I kind of was like eased into it because I had like 3 older brothers and we were all like 1 year apart. So
yeah.
I kind of grew up as like a bit of a tomboy. You knew me at
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah.
I get those comments all the time, like, oh my gosh, aren't you scared? Then I get like, oh, were you at Grenfell? And it's like, then it's like, it kind of shapes that conversation. And it's like,
Mm.
yeah, all those misconceptions of what a firefighter should be is like, wow, like, oh, I've never seen a black female firefighter. And what, you're an officer as well? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm like, oh,
Well,
actually, yeah, I
yeah,
am.
yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah,
now, now you've been promoted and you're doing amazing things.
thank
Like,
you.
and you're just going to inspire the next Kylie out there. One of our
Yeah.
listeners is going to be listening now that's
Mm.
may not even have thought of this as a career choice.
Yeah,
And
potentially.
that's what this podcast is all about.
Mm.
Our giveaway. Our giveaway. So, what we do here at Options to Outcomes is we have a giveaway. So, we really want to break down nepotism. We want to give all of our young people experiences because, as you said, when you were trying to get into media, those
Mm.
experiences wasn't necessarily there.
Mm.
So, Kylie is giving away
Yes, I am.
an assembly to our audiences today. So I'm going to put some more details, a follow-up video in how you can get involved with getting Kylie to be a keynote speaker at your school. And
It'll be good.
yeah,
Yeah, I've done a couple of assemblies. Actually, did assembly back at Alwyn Girls' School. So this is before I was a firefighter. So I was at uni. I just finished uni, and they asked me to come and do an assembly.
you need to come do an assembly at my school as well.
I will.
Yeah,
No, I definitely will, 100%. And it was
the
just
kids will
good.
love it.
It was just good to go back and just say, you know what, you guys, you can do this. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And it was just nice to just speak some life into the youth of today because we didn't always have those people around when we were growing up. So it's just, if that's one person that kind of like just sparks your
That's it.
imagination, then all it takes is that one person sometimes just to be like, right, it changes your whole course of events in your life.
And sometimes people don't realize how many roles are involved in that one sector as
Mm,
well.
mm. Oh
Because
yeah.
people might just think firefighter, but may not know the other stuff that's involved.
You got the
Right.
trainers, you got
Like, who looks after the dogs with their little fire
so
boots?
we do you said so we have they're based at Dowgate Fire Station and I think it's Sherlock or Simba. I'm not sure. You can find all their names on the Fire Brigade website. But we actually do have a fire safety team and fire investigation team. We've got different departments within the
Mm,
Fire Brigade that all work together to ensure that we have that operational readiness, and we are, protecting London and keeping London safe. So you can see all the information on our website, but we all work as a oiled I can't say the word oiled machine to ensure that we're providing that service. So we're serving and protecting London. So yeah, everyone has their designated roles,
yeah.
just like on a fire station in the watch. It's like a sort of a microcosm, but that expands out into the whole of the fire brigade as well. So we all work together to provide that service. So yeah.
Kylie, you've been amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on
It's
and
been good.
encouraging our listeners into
Mm.
the world of emergency services in being a firefighter.
Thank you. It's been
Would
good.
you like to give any last minute advice to our audience?
I think I've said most of it really, but it's been great talking to you.
Thank you.
It's been nice to express myself and just give you a little bit of an insight into what we do as firefighters. As I said, I've been doing it for a long time, but there's still so much to learn. So take that in your lives as a word of advice, just to keep on learning, keep on exploring, keep on researching, stay true to yourself, be authentic, even when it's hard to be,
Yeah.
even when people are sort of pushing and pulling at you, you will encounter people in your life that will set new challenges for you that you wouldn't even encompass, you wouldn't even envision,
Mm.
should I say. So it's important to stay strong, but also important to take breaks as well. I did mention counselling before, didn't I?
Yeah.
The counselling and trauma service that we have is excellent. Talking to your friends and family,
Yeah.
just opening up about your true feelings. A lot of people see firefighters as big, strong individuals
We do.
all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. And it's okay to have those moments where you're taking a bit of time to kind of reflect and think, how has that affected me? If you need to take time out, and to be softer with yourself so that you can be stronger as that emergency responder, then that's what you need to do. It's about being honest with your thoughts and your feelings and taking that time to really look after yourself. Being a mother and being a firefighter, a career woman and a mother, it takes a lot of juggling, a lot of balancing.
Yeah.
And it's good to
I can
know who
imagine.
your support system is, who you can rely on, who you can trust. And, it takes a village, doesn't it? To raise children,
Yeah.
to excel in your career, to give back to your community, to really excel at what you do. So it's really important to just have a good, solid set of people around you can trust and you can talk to about absolutely anything. Be silly with them, like me. Oh God, keep on knocking this mic. It's too close.
You
It's a
can
bit
move
loud.
it. It moves.
I'm
It
scared.
moves.
It's the technology. I'm out of media now. I'm
Oh,
firefighting now, so
there you
I'm
go.
not. I don't
Here's your
do media
chance.
stuff.
You can be my co-host.
But yeah, maybe bring me back. But yeah, I think all those things I've just said, it's just about, just being a true person and just, knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are and, how you can grow every day. Sometimes growth can be still
Yeah.
and
Growth
reflect.
is scary, but growth is good.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's
not.
what I think I've learned over the years.
Yeah, it's
Growth
not
is
always
good.
about charging forward all the time.
Mm.
Sometimes it's about taking time to take stock of what you've learned, how you can now implement that and change your path, just, tweak it a little bit,
Yeah.
and sometimes your goal that you had at the start. So when I was 13, 14, obviously I thought, oh, maybe I'll be a dancer, maybe I'll be working the media, but maybe all the skills that I've learned along the way
Those
have
soft
helped me.
skills.
Yeah, have helped me to become who I am now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's not always about, your options to outcomes being exactly what you've chosen at that point in time in your life. There's always time to change. There's always time to pivot. There's always time to reevaluate what's working for you in your life. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So you can't always be tunnel vision. This is my advice to myself as well, is to make sure that, you're just being honest with yourself. Is this making me happy? Is this working for me? Is this affecting people positively, negatively, or myself positively,
Yeah.
negatively? What can I tweak? What can I change to make sure that, I can continue to show up for myself every day and then show up for others every day. You can't pour from an empty cup. You have to pour into yourself.
Like
Yeah,
it,
whether
like
that's,
it.
nutrition, whether it's getting your sleep, whether it's, being real with yourself or, listening to your friends' real advice, that's constructive criticism as well. Like, people saying, you know what, that was a little bit, and then you actually taking it in and thinking, you know what, yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah, let me address that. Yeah. So even though I'm talking about sort of like life stuff now, that always filters into or transfers over to skills that you will take into your career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Into those environments. So I think it's just about knowing yourself. Yeah. Knowing what your limits are, knowing what your qualities are, and listening to people that can see things in you that you don't always see in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and taking that chance sometimes. So it's a long giveaway. It's a long, like last minute words or whatever, but it's, I could talk for days about this. So, hire me for your keynote speak, your assemblies.
Exactly.
I'm here.
Yeah. So
I'm
you're
here for
available. You're
bookings.
available, and we'll add your details if case anybody does want to get in
Yeah.
touch with you and reach out. Because even though we've said that this is a platform that is for 14 to 25-year-olds, we've got stakeholders, we've got educators that are going to be listening, parent carers that are going to be listening to this, that might even
Yeah.
want a career change themselves.
Yeah.
So the platform
Mentoring.
options to outcomes is open to
So
everybody.
even now, I'm just like, options to outcomes. I'm here as a sub officer, but what else could I do?
Well, that's
Coaching, mentoring, keynote speaker.
Exactly. The world is your oyster.
You never know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Keep your options open, and I'm always encouraging myself to step outside of my comfort zone and just live life.
That's it. Because
Yeah.
we're only here for a short time.
This is it.
So
Do good.
you got to make the most
Live
of it.
good.
That's it. Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Kylei, thank you.
Thank you, Carly.